Howdy everyone, this is Trisha and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be making some homemade bread. This is going to be a recipe that I'm going to be trying for the first time. It is a recipe that I got from allrecipes.com, so I'll put a link down below in case you want to follow it from there. But I will be giving you all the measurements and let's get started. Let me start off by telling you the ingredients, and as I go along I will give you the measurements. We're going to need some bread flour, some wheat flour, some granulated sugar, vegetable oil, some brown sugar. We're going to need some dry yeast. We are also going to be needing these quick cook oats, and we're going to be needing some warm water. Now to make these loaves, it's going to be 6 loaves, so I've got myself 6 little tins here. These are 8 by 3 and 7/8 inch in size. So this is it. They're little loaf pans, but you can use whatever loaf pans you want to use. If you want to make them bigger, then of course you can make a bigger loaf. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so in this small bowl that I have here, I am going to take half a cup of warm water, 1 tablespoon of sugar, some granulated sugar. Let me break up the little clumps there. 1 tablespoon. I am going to take a 1/4 cup of bread flour. So just a 1/4 cup. Right in there. Let's mix this up a little bit here. And then we're going to take 3 packages of active dry yeast. Pour that in. And then we're going to mix this up. And we're going to let this sit here for 5 minutes till the yeast becomes active. That means it'll be all nice and bubbly, and that is when you know this is ready. So let's let this rest after I've finished mixing it really well. There we go. Make sure there's no flour lumps in there. Okay. Minutes and we'll be back. Okay. All right, everyone, my yeast has risen. It is right here. I'm actually going to put this in the bowl because you really should have done this in the bowl of the mixing bowl. Does that make any sense? Okay, but in here, in my mixing bowl, I've already measured the oats, and I have 2 cups of these quick oats, as you can see here. So now I'm just going to push in this yeast mixture right in there. Get it all in there. Okay. And I'm just going to mix it up with my spatula just a little bit. Okay, to that, we're also going to add 4.5 cups of warm water. So I've already measured that out right here. And this is 4.5 cups of warm water. Put that in there. To this, we're also going to add the whole wheat flour, and that is 2 cups. So I've got that measured out right here. Pour that in there. I'm going to give this a little bit of a mix, just to make sure that the oats at the bottom do get mixed up really well, because I am using a dough hook on my stand mixer, by the way. Okay, we're probably going to do this ever so often. Let me get this a little closer. There we go. All right, so to this we're also going to be adding some salt, which I did not mention at the beginning of the video, and this asks for 2.5 tablespoons of salt. That seems like a lot of salt to me. You use your judgment, but I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to put, I guess I'm going to put what it asks for, but I don't want to. Kind of want to cut down on the salt. So 2.5 tablespoons. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put 1 and maybe I'm going to put half of the salt. Okay? I know that salt is really important cooking and baking, but I'm going to cut down on the salt. All right. That's what I'm going to do. That's my decision. You decide on your own if you want to use that much. Okay, so now we need some brown sugar in there, and that is 2/3 cup of brown sugar. I don't have a 2/3 cup measurement. It was busy. Well, it's not busy anymore. But I'm going to use this 1/3 cup. I'm just going to measure twice. It doesn't say to pack it, so I'm just, just gently, brushing it off, leveling it off. There we go. And then to that, we're also going to need 2/3 cup of vegetable oil. So we're going to measure this twice. There we go. And we're going to put this down, and I'm going to mix this for 1 to 2 minutes, and then we're going to be increasing the speed as we go along and adding some flour. So we'll be back. Let me plug this in and we'll be ready to do that. All right, so I've got my mixer at the lowest speed right now, and I have started mixing this for, well, I'm going to do it for about 1 to 2 minutes like it says in the instructions. Now, this is also asking, besides the bread flour that you saw me put into the yeast mixture, it is also asking for 10 cups of bread flour. So I've gone ahead and I've measured this out. We may not use the complete 10 cups, but you should measure it out first, because what we're going to do is we're going to increase the speed in a moment, and then we're going to add anywhere from half a cup to a cup of the bread flour at a time until we see that our bread is no longer sticking to the sides. It's still going to be a little bit sticky, but this is all just going to depend on how much of the flour you add, the humidity around you, so just keep that in mind. I will let you know that you're going to want to also prepare your oven, not at this point because we are going to let this rest for an hour, but just ahead of time to give you a heads up. The temperature will be 350 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 175 degrees Celsius. All right, so, and we'll get to that in a moment. Right now, it has been mixing around for about a minute. I think I've talked for just over a minute. And we're going to go ahead and add half a cup of flour in there. Also, ever so often, I'm going to pull this up, and then I'm going to use my spatula to mix in there, because I want to make sure that anything at the bottom of my stand mixer in my bowl actually got up here and got mixed around. And I'm going to speed it up a little bit. So that was half a cup, okay? Let me go ahead and add another. That's 1 cup. I'm going to have this one ready. Let me get my spatula. I'm just pushing down the flour that's on the sides right now. I'm going to stop this and lift this and make sure it's got plenty of water in there, so it just feels like everything is off the bottom, but still, I want to make sure. Okay, let's start this up again. Flour that's on here. Speed her up. I've added 1 cup, another half a cup, and another. That's 2 cups that I've added in. I will keep in track of the actual flour that I used here in deep South Texas, where it's super hot and humid, to give you an idea of how much flour I actually used. And I'll be adding that slowly, and I'll be back and let you know how long this has taken. All right, everyone, we're at the 10-minute mark, and I've added 5 cups of flour, And you can see that it is still not pulling away. It wants to start pulling away from the sides, but it still needs more flour. So I'm going to continue adding and timing this. 7 cups in, and I have increased the speed of my stand mixer, and it's just been another minute, so it's been about 11, almost 12 minutes now. All right, everyone, I've gone ahead and I pulled my bowl off of my stand mixer, and I checked my dough here, and I've gone ahead and I'm gonna I put some flour on this board here. As you can see, flour went flying everywhere, and I did use 10 cups. So you might want to slow down the speed on your mixer here, your stand mixer, before you put in the flour, because I threw the last couple of cups in there without slowing it down, and flour went everywhere on my counter, but that's okay. So now I'm going to dump this. It's sticky, but it does come off the bowl. See, just like that. Get that last piece out of there. There's a little bit more in there. There we go. This is a big pile of dough, as you can see. And we still need to let this rest, you guys. I'm just going to roll it around and a little bit of this flour here. Just like that. We're not even kneading it because we've already done that with the mix, you know, with our mixer. And I think my total time was maybe 14 minutes. It didn't even take me that long after I added the, I think it was 7 or 8 cups at the time, and I said it was about 12 minutes. So it didn't take long after that. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to take a big bowl. We're going to drop some oil in it and rub that oil all around the inside of the bowl. Make it nice and oily. Okay, take some of this oil, pat it on the dough here. Okay, so now we're going to take our big old dough, pushing it inward like that. We're going to dump this in our bowl and then just kind of turn it some like that to make sure it's all coated with oil. Get a little bit more on your hands here. Rub it, and then just kind of make sure it's rubbed in everywhere. Just like that. Make it nice and slippery. And then I've got a damp cloth here that I'm going to place over it. And I'm going to put this in the warmest part of my house, which is on my stove. If you've been cooking or baking, that'll be a perfect spot. Don't put it on the stove, of course, but just nearby so that the warmth will help it. We're going to let it rise for, what, 30 minutes to an hour? Let's see. Let me look at my instructions very carefully. 1 hour. We're going to put this in a warm spot, let it rise for 1 hour. Okay, and then we'll be back so we can divide this into our little loaf pans. All right, everyone, it has been almost an hour. The instructions actually said till the dough has either doubled in size or up to an hour. So it has been almost an hour. It's been about 40 minutes, but the dough is very well risen. I've gone ahead and I've sprayed all my little loaf pans with some oil. You can this is a butter flavored non-stick kind of spray. You could use the vegetable oil that you used to also rub into this pan. You could also rub that into that, or maybe even use some butter or some shortening. But you want to grease them up really well. And now I've got my board here, and I've sprinkled a little bit of that wheat flour on here. And I've been checking this because I noticed that it was getting really fluffy, so I've been lifting it up, and the towel would kind of stick to it. So I was just kind of pulling it down like that. But I just let it go ahead and just happen because it wasn't that big of a deal pulling off, you know, the dough off the towel. But I'm just going to try and pull off as much as I can. And there we go. Look at it. It is overspilling over on this side. But look how beautiful it is, you guys. And you can see that it is doubled what it was when I first put it in there. I'm going to now put it onto this board. And let's watch it just kind of ooze out of there. Oh my goodness, look at that. It is a lot of dough. If you have a bigger board, which I should have probably set out instead of this, would have been a better idea. But now I'm just picking up some of that wheat flour a little bit. And I'm just going to sort of shape it a little bit. I'm not going to knead it. It's already been kneaded enough. We don't want to get it all too chewy and stuff. So we're going to cut this into 6 pieces. So I'm just going to more or less half it right here. There we go. I'm going to try and pull that off. There we go. I'm going to put this in the bowl so it's a little easier for me to maneuver all this. Now I'm going to take this half and form it again so that I can cut it into 3 even pieces. And I'm going to repeat that with this, so I have 3 even pieces with that. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. A little butter right here. Trying to get this to be even. You want to weigh this out. That would be great. You want to make sure you get really nicely even pieces. Okay, this is more or less even, okay? I'm going to get this one here. I don't mind if I steal some off of this one because that one's awfully big. That. Okay, so I'm going to get a little bit more of this yummy wheat flour. Let me tell you, I've made homemade bread before and I just use regular all-purpose flour. I've never actually purchased a bread flour or added a wheat flour to this. So I actually ended up spending a little bit more. And maybe that's not such a great idea, but you know what? I thought it would be a nice treat. So we're gonna try this bread now. Next time I'll try to make it just a plain one like I've done in the past. I'm looking at these and I'm trying to get them the same size. This one looks a little bigger. And so I'm going to add that to this. Okay, so now I just want to roll them up to like a loaf. And I left my oats out here too because I thought, well, you know what? Maybe I want to, roll them out into some dough, into some oats. So let's get some of that on there. It doesn't say to do this. And this is probably not the right way to do it, but I'm going to just get that on there. See? Just get it to stick. Mostly what I'm going to consider the top part. Okay, and then I'm going to put this in my loaf pan. I'm going to repeat that with these, and like I said, cut these into 3 pieces. Once we get them all like that, we're also going to cover them up again. We're going to use the same damn towel. We're going to cover them up again and leave them again for up to an hour. We're going to let them rise. And then we can bake them at 350 for 35 minutes. And I've actually already got my oven going without thinking. It's going to be another hour before I get to this. But I do have to make some dinner, so I'm going to use that heat for now. Okay, everyone. I'll be back when this is all in the little loaves ready to be covered up. All right, here are my 6 loaves. I've put them all in there now. And I'm going to take the same damp towel, put it over, oh, let's put it this way. There we go. Just put it over them. Again, warm spot. This is a nice warm spot right now. My kitchen is nice and warm right now. And I'm going to leave that alone for an hour. All right, it's been almost an hour, and these are my small loaves here. As you can see, they have risen. These have been a little bit slower, but I think it's because they were just a little bit smaller than these were. Look at these. Oh my goodness. And I did move them over on top of my stove, so it would be a little bit in a warmer spot. But I think these are perfectly fine. I'm going to go ahead and put them into the oven. I kind of want to make some little scores on them. Let me get a knife. All right, I've got a little knife here. I don't know if it'll really score the way that I think, but I'm just going to make like 1, 2, and 3. It's kind of making it go down a little bit, as you can see that. So just do that. I don't know if that'll even make a difference when I bake it. Okay, I'm actually going to give these a few more minutes and I'll be back. All right, so a few minutes later, and the bread has risen again to its original state. So now these are going to go in the oven, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and they're going to be in there for 35 minutes, and then I'll pull them out and let them rest for 10 so they can cool off, and then we'll get ready to taste our delicious homemade bread. All right, I have now taken the bread out of the oven, and look at these loaves, you guys. I let them get nice and golden brown on the top, and they are all baked up nicely. These were the ones that kind of puffed up a little bit more, or that rose up a little bit more, but that's what they're looking like. I've got to let them cool off a bit, but I kind of already want to get into one because it's still nice and hot, and I would like to be able to put some butter and let that melt, but it is really super hot. Let's see, let's try and see if I can at least pop one. I was putting some butter next to it to kind of help it get a little soft. So let's move these over, and let's see if I can pop one out. It's super, super hot right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull on the sides of this little, just to make sure it's not stuck, and it's not. So let's pop one out. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Look at how beautiful that is. Wow, it is so pretty. Oh my goodness. Let's get some of this butter. It's been kind of softening up a little bit. It's not quite ready, but I just kind of want to put it on the top here and let it melt onto the top of the bread here. Wow, that is so beautiful. Oh, and it smells really nice. I like the little bits of oatmeal on the top. Now I kind of wish I had maybe put some more and let that push into there. Let's cut one. It is super hot, you guys. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at that. Let's get this on there to get it nice and hot. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. I'm going to let it cool off a little bit before I try giving a little bite, and we'll taste it. And that will be it for our beautiful, beautiful homemade bread. All right, everyone, it is time to give our homemade bread a taste. And I've gone ahead and I've buttered up a couple of slices here. And I'm just going to spread that out now that it's all melted on there. I'm going to take a little part where there's a little bit of crust as well. It is absolutely delicious, everyone. It came out really nice and soft on the inside, and it's got a nice little crunchy, crusty outer crust here. What else could I call it? A crusty crust, right? Have another little taste. I'm going to give myself a big old thumbs up. I hope that you too will give me a big old thumbs up. Leave a nice comment down below. Let me know what you think. Will you be making some bread as well? And make sure you subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Hit that little notification bell so you get notified of my videos, which is every Tuesday and every Friday. And once in a while, I have a weekend vlog. That's it. Make sure you share on your social medias. And as always, enjoy.